Hi, my name is Ellie Cardani, and this is my environmental presentation for COMM 450 media campaigns. So we're going to be focusing on environmental issues that we face today. There's so many, starting with pollution, overpopulation, waste disposal, climate change. But the ones that we're going to be focusing on are anti-littering, which I found 2 PSAs for, clean energy, global warming, and water wasting, which each have 1 PSA. So to begin, we're going to be using the McGuire matrix of persuasion as the analysis for this presentation. So just to give a little background, these are steps that are included in the process of attempting to persuade individuals. Any successful persuasion includes many steps. So the inputs are actually the aspects of the attempted persuasion, while the outputs are the stages that actually go into the persuading. For inputs, we're going to focus on mainly source and message, which are the main aspects of an ad, but then channel, receiver, destination, which includes audience as well, we're going to be focusing on. And then outputs, we've narrowed it down to 8, but I just want to take focus to recall, which is the most difficult because of so much competition. There's so much competition to get your ad out there and noticed that it's hard to recall, so you need to make sure that your ad specifically sticks out. So to begin, I started with an anti-littering PSA, and this one was actually a self-made YouTube video, which progressed to win a few awards. So let's go ahead and watch this. Okay, so oddly enough, I found some of the characteristics to be relaxing music, given the ending of the video. That was just a little odd, but it takes place in an everyday setting, activities that we will all take place in, golfing, barbecuing, driving, walking, just stuff that we do every day. So the important input variables are actually the source, which is the young male adult. He's actually the one who created it. This kind of ties into the attractiveness factor, because if there's someone attractive as the main focal point, then we're more likely to focus on the ad and the center of the issue that's taking place. And that also kind of creates a similarity to the audience, because it is an everyday activity, things that we take place in. So we can all relate to it leading up to the main impact. I actually put that this was more of an indirect effect towards the end, because we're not thinking about what's going on. We're cautiously aware of it. It's just progressing in our mind. We don't have to stop and think about it. We're seeing it as it happens. So the message is more of a dominant male role, and it's organized in a continuous shot in order to kind of show that one bad choice can lead to many consequences, such as just throwing that one bottle eventually could have led to his death, which is what that was saying. It's a little drastic, but you get the main idea. One bad choice leads to many consequences. It was shot and directed as a YouTube project, but further broadcasted and actually won a bunch of awards. So basically the presentation is meant to go for a large audience population. It's not just directed at one group of people, but rather it's trying to get as many people's attention as it can get. And it's kind of I went back to the EPPM model that we learned about. It presents solution and self-efficacy, because we can find a solution for it ourselves, whether that solution be just recycle, don't throw it in the grass, or stuff like that. We can answer we can answer the problem ourselves with our own solutions. So the next one that I found was actually a popular clean energy PSA. This one was actually directed with Leonardo DiCaprio, because we all know he's big into environment, so he was actually one of the people behind this. So let's go ahead and watch this.
Today, now, share this. There's a bill in the United States Senate that we need to pay attention to.
It's a clean energy bill
that cuts carbon pollution and creates jobs. Homegrown jobs that can't be outsourced. A strong economy.
clean air.
Solar power. Wind power. Tweet that. Everyone knows that we have a dependence on foreign oil. Oil we buy from countries that don't share our values and kill our soldiers. It needs to stop.
Visit thisisourmoment.org. We can do this.
This is our moment.
Okay, so that one's actually more of an obvious one when it comes to important input variables. Obviously, the source is the famous actor, so we have Leonardo DiCaprio, Chase Crawford, Jason Bateman, people like that. We're more likely to be attracted to them and have that likability and credibility that also goes hand in hand with the organization, because chances are if you're famous, we're going to relate with you more. We've seen you in media, movies, news, so we're more likely to be attracted towards that. And with the NRDC organization, they have that credibility, given that they've helped so much with the politics of environment within the United States. So that's kind of that. And then I actually put that it ties into the ELM model, because chances are if we like a certain celebrity, we have that motivation to look into issues that they are feeling strongly about. So say we are a big fan of Leonardo DiCaprio. If he's big on clean energy and environment, we have that motivation and ability with our prior knowledge to further look into stuff that he believes in as well to make an impact. And as for the audience, this is geared towards all of America. The NRDC is a political organization helping with environment in America. So it's relating it to the soldiers that are affected. It's stating the individuals who need jobs, because our environment is decreasing the amount of jobs available. And it also mentions the Senate bill. So it ties into America with the message that people with a voice that are heard can be very influential. Celebrities have such a big platform to make such a big stance on, that anything they say people will kind of look into. So any PSA that has a celebrity in it is going to be more impactful than, say, one that doesn't. And the ad kind of has an assertive tone of voice with every celebrity that it switches to, kind of showing the seriousness in the message, the fact that we do need to do something to help, and just the facts make it more credible. And it's delayed and direct because we do want to help stop it now and help clean energy, but we also want to progress it in the future. So for the third one, I actually like this one. It's more of an emotional trigger. So this one's a global warming PSA. So that one is more of an emotional PSA. It kind of has a subtle impact because of the emotional side of it. The ad uses a bit of suspenseful music once it gets going, along with the visual image of the mother bear being separated from her child. So that's going to tie into the emotional appeal of the high sensation value messages that we learned about. Those are just some of the characteristics that you see in it. But with the important input variables for this one, obviously we have the main source, which is the polar bear mother and her child. This goes to create the likable aspect of source factors, because many people feel for animals. There are many animal lovers in the world. You're more likely to relate on that emotional connection. And this also does tie into the ELM as well, because if you are more likely to be interested in animals with prior knowledge of things that go on in the world, you're more motivated to try and take a stand in order to help them. The message and audience, the message is just more so global warming, it can separate families, more so for animals in this factor. But the audience, since it is a cartoon, it kind of leaves a lasting impact more on adults and children because it ties in that family factor. So that's really what's going to trigger the emotional appeal in this. It contains a delayed destination just because we do want to stop this issue now and prevent it in the future. So just kind of that image of a broken family, the broken animals, really kind of grabs your attention with this one. So moving on, this PSA is about wasting water. It was actually created by the Wasting Water is Weird website, so let's go ahead and watch this.
Hey, don't you just love the sound of an empty dishwasher?
The moment using water becomes wasting water, it gets weird. Get normal by visiting wastingwaterisweird.com.
So this one is kind of what the title is. It's a little weird. So this one's the Wasting Water PSA. Some characteristics that kind of stick out on the ad are the sound of the empty dishwasher running. You see that there's only 3 dishes in it, so that's kind of hinting of the wasting water. The male voice kind of makes it more serious. The image of the empty dishwasher and excessive water running. And then we also have the imaginary man, who he's there, but imaginary in her head, being weird with all the weird noises. So it kind of is hard to forget all that stuff going on in this ad. And then it was actually created by the website, I linked it below, Wasting Water is Weird. The founder has actually worked with companies such as Lowe's and Bosch to help preserve natural resources. So this ties into the source being credible because he has worked with large companies, so it shows that credibility. And then likeliness because he is well known. So it's going to have more of an impact on people if more people know about you. This is also just a straight message. It's pretty obvious. Don't waste water. Load up your dishwashers when your entire sink is full. Don't just wash one dish. This ties into don't leave the water running when you're brushing your teeth, stuff like that. Self-efficacy. If you can solve it, then do it. We can solve many of wasting water issues. Don't start the shower minutes before you get in. Turn off the sink when you're brushing your teeth. Don't just leave water running. It's pretty much geared towards an audience of individuals with daily usage of water. So we use water from morning to night. There are many ways that we can prevent wasting it and using it effectively. So it's a direct destination because it's kind of what we're doing now in the moment. What we do now can affect how much we waste later on. And this video was actually made through YouTube, but it's been spread through Facebook, Twitter, the actual Wasting Water is Weird website. So it's pretty well out there. And so that is kind of just a straightforward message, don't waste water. And for the last one, we have the last anti-littering PSA, which is one of the 2 that I mentioned. This one's actually kind of cool because we're all from Texas, so we can kind of relate to it. So let's go ahead and watch this one.
I wouldn't do it.
I wouldn't do it.
I wouldn't do it.
I wouldn't do it.
I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it either.
I wouldn't do it.
I'd never do it. Don't mess with Texas.
So with this one, it is going to be a little easier for us to relate to because it does have to do with Texas, and obviously we're very big on not wanting anybody to mess with the state. So this one, the main source, pretty obvious, just like the other one. It has famous actors, but they're from Texas, so it's going to give us more of that similarity to relate back to them. It has people such as Matthew McConaughey in it, which is a pretty big actor. A lot of people are interested in him and as well as some of the other people in it. We have some rappers in it. They're attractiveness, obviously celebrities are probably a little more attractive, and just the fact that more people know them, and that likability. They're in music videos we like, movies we like, so that is kind of what sends us towards a similarity and likability in that. The message is more of the repetitive appeal. It's pretty effective, straightforward, don't litter. They wouldn't do it, we shouldn't do it. So that's more of a behavior model, because we're most likely going to mimic what they say or what they do. Because the audience is aimed towards Texans, obviously. It's a Don't Mess with Texas ad. This one's more geared towards us Texans. The goal is not only to stop the littering now, but we clearly want it to stop in the future as well. So this is what gives us the intention of a direct and delayed destination. You see that, like, beautiful Texas landscape, just the beautiful weather, and with the repetitive saying, it's gonna have more of an effect on us with the behavior model. We're gonna reenact what they say. We're gonna want to keep it beautiful that way. So we're gonna protest against the anti-littering. So that's it for the presentation. I left it off with kind of this powerful image that I just found looking into some of this stuff. It's just a picture of the environment, every aspect that kind of goes into it, not necessarily these being the issues, but these are just things that become affected by some of the things I've talked about. So that beautiful green, grass, the sky, things like that. Everything can be affected by the pollution, global warming, stuff like that. So whatever we can do, just kind of, like I said, recall's the most difficult step. So if we can recall some of those that we talked about, just not wasting water, recycling, trying to throw our trash away, being more cautious of what we use around us, things like that can further help the environment. So that is my presentation, and thank you guys for watching.